Hello everybody, here I am in Khalili, one of the most historic markets in Cairo, just east of the Nile. Well, everything west of the Nile is Giza, or really it's Giza in Arabic. But look at this, is this a car coming? The cars do come down, even motorbikes, you're about to see one. Sometimes incredibly fast, and it's a very crowded area, which ought to be considered a solely pedestrian area. But anyway, look at this extraordinarily historic medieval mosque. Look at that, for handiwork. But unfortunately, it's rather dusty because there's so much pollution. Could really do with a bit of a wipe down. There's some Arabic calligraphy on it. I can read Arabic, well, I can produce the sounds, but I don't know the signification of the words. Calligraphy is too difficult for me. But there's prayer time going on there right now. You can go to the minaret for a mere 80 Egyptian pounds. About 20 Egyptian pounds to 1 sterling. Anyway, Egypt, by way of comparison, it's 10 times the area of Ireland. And well, about 12 times the population. There we go. So anyway, now it's difficult not to raid a treasure trove of European literature, or sometimes non-European literature, with the comparisons, stereotypical images conjuring up notions of Sinbad the Sailor, 1001 Nights. So here we go, street bazaar. I don't know, he's not being filmed, some bloke waving at me. So being treated like a celebrity, and people saying welcome to Egypt all the way along. So I've been pleasantly quite surprised by how many people speak English, or they do sometimes regret the excessive spread of English. Look at the tuk-tuk. I never saw these when I was 7 here. Those Indian things, so you see them in Thailand a lot, like a what's it called? Some extraordinary racy outfits. Look over here. Look at that. What an idea of Santa Claus's elves. Santa's little helper, Baba Noel. Because there's no P in Arabic, so it comes out as a B, the P sound, Papa. And so the French word, Papa Noel, in Arabic, Baba Noel. So some Muslims celebrate it as well. Anyway, it's Friday, it's prayer day, so it's not as busy right now, because some people are still fulfilling their religious obligations. So mostly men on the street. I mean, I've been surprised that 9 out of 10 women wear headscarves, and perhaps 1 out of 10 actually wears a face veil. Obviously, I'm trying to say 1 out of 10 women doesn't wear even a headscarf. So they've got these mannequins who are extraordinarily buxom, female dummies, that is. And they're wearing these very risque outfits, because they do allow belly dancing here, which you think is extraordinary, because that's equivalent of lap dancing in the Western world. At weddings and so on, although women have been arrested for, this actress was arrested here for wearing a dress to a premiere that showed her legs, considered to be outraging public morals. Or another woman who said that having a child out of wedlock was acceptable, and again that was adjudged to be outraging public morality. So you get the idea of this place. It's actually quite an even surface. Very often the surface is extremely bockety, could easily fall and break your face on the road, so it needs a few repairs. The population has increased threefold since my last visit. So the Khan el-Khalili market, but I remember it often being like a wet market. The image has never left me of a bull being led by a rope along the street. We actually found it quite menacing, because my family were accustomed to the Middle East. We'd lived in Saudi Arabia, but it was something else. So there are just too many automobiles on the road, and what's it going to do as the population increases even more? But they are going to shift the capital, but the trouble is it's going to be adjoining the current capital, so the conurbation will simply get bigger. I thought the thing to do is move it to the opposite end of the country, or do what we've done in the Republic of Ireland, as in disperse the ministries, various governmental ministries in different cities around the country, to reduce it. I asked a police officer whether I could film here, and he said yes. So good, you've got to be very chary never to film an officer of the law. They wear black uniforms, so people are always inviting to your shop. It's not been as hard to sell as I thought. I remember when I was a little boy coming here on that cruise down the River Nile. We'd stop, get off the boat on the Nile every day, and there would be all these hawkers as we descended the bus at various sites of exceptional historic interest, trying to sell us, mock papyri, paintings, various little statuettes, images of the pharaoh, sphinxes, or whoever else. Often at grossly inflated prices. One thing is, you'll notice there's usually no price label, so never pay the first price they ask for. They'll try it on, charging you well over the odds, especially if you're obviously Occidental. So you've got to haggle, you've got to beat them down. This is a land of negotiation. So I discovered that the average daily pay is 35 Egyptian pounds, That's about £2 or $3 or something like that, or, €2.50. So if you're £35 is a goodly amount of money, and I'm sure I've been had for a monkey several times already. I don't mean that badly ripped off. Wow, and I'm looking at this mosque here, and I can see the monogram of one of the last Ottoman sultans. Is this one here. I recognize it's in Istanbul so many times. So anyway, I think it's quite characterful. Perhaps you get a flavor of the place. Had some bananas already. Now, I accidentally drank some tap water the other day, but I must have a fairly robust constitution. I've not suffered Tutankhamun's revenge. You can get gastroenteritis. I know it befell my mother when we were here many, many moons ago. And look at this, Egyptian cotton. It was famed for its cotton. There we go. I would love to touch it, but I don't want to be accused of soiling it. And that black cloth which adorns the Kaaba in Mecca al-Haram, that is a gift from Egypt every year. They confer upon them the inestimable honor of providing that gratis. Saudi Arabia do. So it's been that way for centuries, long before Saudi Arabia as such was established. So being a Friday, it's not as busy as usual, but many people have already finished their orisons, and that's why this souk is open again, selling all sorts. And anyway, so you're seeing a bit more of authentic Egypt here, a lot of it not particularly aimed at foreign tourists. And I was in a very noisy market the other day, selling low-quality goods, and these proletarian Egyptians shopping there, prices they can afford. But really downtown, near Al-Adli Street or Aylul Street or Shira Sharif, that's a more upper middle class, so they're spending a lot. More people can speak English, but it's just an incredibly densely packed city. Only about 1% of its green space. I had to pay to go into a park near Al-Azhar Mosque yesterday, but it was worth it for a bit of green space up in the hills to the east of Cairo. And there are two forts which command the eastern approaches to the city, because there's a gap in the hill, so they're going to control that mountain pass to forfend the possibility of being successfully invaded from the east. Although it has happened, the city has fallen a number of times in its history, obviously to Napoleon, to the British, to the Ottomans, to various other dynasties. So Al-Kahira, vanquisher or conqueror, which is the greatest city in the Middle East, the largest city in Africa, one of only two cities on the continent to be possessed of a metro system, the other being Algiers. I'm astonished someone like Johannesburg hasn't got one, but the traffic is pretty bad. But the drive's often so bad that they're good. And I've seen one crash helmet at all, one crash helmet in the whole time. You sometimes see the whole family on a motorbike. Loads of people approaching me for selfies, and I said yes several times, but eventually got bored of it. So I've posed for dozens of selfies, and plus they're a bit impressed by my height, 6'1". So, where I come from, yes, I'm above average height, but here I'm almost gigantic. I've met 4 Egyptians in my life who are taller than me, and believe me, I met a lot of Egyptians. So yeah, I'm about to go through an enormous gateway. Then you see these minarets, as in minar, meaning tower. So that's where the muezzin would issue the azan, as in he would sing out the prayer call, wail it out. The first chink of light is spotted on the horizon at daybreak. And then the various times of the day for the 5 prayers, as set out by the hadith, as revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, during his night journey when he mounted a winged steed with the face of a woman and flew up into the celestial regions for a night's conversation with the Almighty, and was told to have 5 prayers a day. That's in, the hadith, that record of the utterances and the deeds of the Prophet. And the Almighty wanted them to be 50 prayers a day, but Muhammad was able to bargain him down to only 5 a day, because it would be unduly onerous if they're to pray 50 times a day. I mean, 5 would seem rather burdensome to a Nazarene. Okay, so coming more or less to the end of it, you will see a lot of stray dogs, which surprised me, because people are sort of kinophobic here, because the Prophet, he rather disliked them. He was very kind to felines. A felinophile once fell asleep on his sleeve, and he would cut off his sleeve rather than disturb the slumbers of that cat. Now look at this. Look at that for a gateway. So well built. The rounded towers, because of course the best place to try and knock it down is the corner. There is no corner. So a bit of the walls of historic Cairo, and then these minarets. So the muezzin was blind, so he couldn't see over the walls into the gardens where women would be unveiled. Obviously, in the 20th century, he's replaced by a recorded tape. Bit of water leakage there. All right, and I'll show you a bit more of what it's like. So anyway, perhaps you're getting an idea of some Cairo, of authentic Cairo, and Cairenes going about their daily business. And there you see an image of the President Fattah Abdel el-Sisi, the president who took office a few years ago, who was elected with a handsome 88% of the vote, a former military man, just like every leader but one since 1952, since the 26th of July revolution, and he's there to stay. He doesn't speak much English, which is perhaps surprising because his predecessors, several of them, up to and including Gamal Abdel Nasser, they all spoke very impressive English, which was highly unusual. That's enough at the moment. Goodbye.